Next up, we have Andrew Jones. Andrew served in the Marine Corps from 1999 to 2006 and deployed to Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. Upon returning home, he immediately began struggling with PTSD, which sent his life into a downward spiral, resulting in battles with suicide and suicidal behavior. He finally reached out for help and was able to overcome the darkness, and now leads a productive, fulfilling life as he pursues his passion to assist other veterans to their full potential. Andrew works tirelessly with the Ripple Effect and in the veteran community. He's an Amazon best-selling author of Healing the Warrior Heart. Andrew is a true success story. He's living proof that there is light at the end of the PTSD tunnel. Andrew.
All right, how's it going? First, I want to thank you for your time. I know it's a Friday, it's the end of the week, you guys are tired, so thank you for investing this time in here today, these 4 hours to be here with us. What I want to do throughout this presentation is engage you in different ways, share my story, give some tips, some tools, some knowledge that maybe you didn't walk in here with before, some hope that maybe you didn't have before. So what I want you to do, and this is kind of for my own selfish benefit, because this is something I do every day and I want to do it right now, so I'm going to make you guys do it with me. So first off, I want to recognize who's here. I figure there's going to be one of three people here, right? Either you're a service member or a veteran, service member / veteran, you're a family member of a service member / veteran, or you're a member of the community and you just want to be here and get engaged and be a part of the conversation and be a part of the solution. So if you're a member of the community and you want to get engaged and be a part of the solution, if you don't mind, you can stand up. No relation to a veteran, really. You're not a veteran. Awesome.
I'm standing.
Awesome. We're going to get you all standing, so don't worry. I just want to recognize who's here real quick. So if you are not a veteran, but you're a family member or a loved one meaning you're at least a close friend, you're connected to a veteran in some way, shape, or form, please stand up. And if you are a veteran or a service member, let's finish it up. Yeah, is anybody left? What's that? Or all the above? Give everybody a hand of applause. Also, you can fall into several of those categories. So is everybody still seated? Is it by choice because you don't want to stand, or you don't fall into one of those categories?
I fall into this category.
Okay, so you're not a veteran?
No.
You're not a family member or a loved one of a veteran?
I stood up for that.
What's that?
I stood
Oh,
up.
stand.
Oh.
We're all standing. Okay, so check this out. This is what I do in the mornings, right? And it kind of scares my kids sometimes. So, David, I'm not sure how your service dog is with loud noises, but it's about to get loud.
We'll find out.
All right. This is what I do to empower myself every day, okay? I roar, all right? And so we're all going to do it together. I'll do it first so you can hear it, so that you can encourage you. But then you're going to do it so I don't feel so awkward about the fact that I just did it. Okay? So what I do every morning is I wake up, and the first thing I feel is this pressure on me. Like, I don't want to get out of bed today. I don't want to take on what's going on today. But then I get that drive to just say, okay, I got to get up, I got to do it. And I stand up, and I just go, and I shake, and I just say, come on! And I'm like, let's do this, right? And in the early morning, first time I did it, my kids come running in, what's going on? And so they're used to it now. So I want you to do it real quick, and we're gonna tie it into a lot of things too, okay? So on the count of 3, if everybody can just let out the biggest roar you've got, it'd be great. So I don't feel so awkward about it. All right? 1, 2, 3. All right, cool. Now what I want you to do is close your eyes real quick, okay? There's 2 reasons that a lion roars. And I looked this up, so it's got to be true. It was on Wikipedia. Number 1, they claim their territory, right? They take, they say, this is mine. They take authority over what is around them. And they say, nobody else comes in here. No other lions roar this. This is my area. So part of that roar is not just to get yourself up for the day, but it's to tell everything that's coming against you in life. Everything. Procrastination, laziness, depression, anger, guilt, shame, sadness, pain. Whatever is coming against you in life, you're going to roar and tell that thing, get away, this is my territory. I take authority over this. So I want you to close your eyes and picture those things. Picture the sadness. Picture the procrastination. Whatever it is in your life that comes against you, this is your chance to take authority over that and leave it outside for right now. Okay? So picture that thing in your life on the count of 3. Roar and claim your territory. 1, 2, 3. Roar! My voice starts cracking sometimes. All right, number 2, why a lion roars, is to let all the other lions know around, it's time to come home. It's time to come in. Whatever you're out there doing, it's time to come in. So what I want you to do next is close your eyes. I want you to picture a veteran, your loved one, family member, someone you know, or even just a random veteran that you've seen on the street that may be struggling. I'm gonna catch my breath, get in your head. Okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna roar for them, okay? We're gonna bring them home. We're gonna let them know that it's safe to come home. If they're lost, we're gonna roar and give them that direction where they need to go, okay? If they're not focused, if they're wandering, we're gonna refocus them. And this is gonna be that energy you're gonna put out for them. So picture that veteran that's lost, that's wandered, that needs that help. I want you to put him in your head, and I want you to take everything you've got, because I know you love that veteran, and I know you care about him. And on the count of 3, I want you to dig deep, and we're gonna do it one more time, okay? 1, 2, 3. Roar! Awesome. Hey, give your hands, give yourself a hand. All right, go and have a seat. So I want to engage you in different ways, right? So I'm not just up here talking. Let's get the blood flowing. And I want to roar, so y'all do it. All right? Cool. I'm serious, I do that every day. Anybody get anything out of that? Was that cool?
I did, yes.
All right, so next thing I want to do is share my story with you guys. Okay? I love that picture. And there's nothing more true than this picture. Well, I was in the Marine Corps. I loved it. I joined in 1999. Right out of high school, I was 17 years old, just a baby. Joined the Marine Corps. My mom said, I want you to join the Marine Corps, so I'm going to do it. And so I'd like you to sign the paper and support me. She goes, okay, well, don't join the infantry. I'm going to join the infantry. That's what I want to do. So her tears are on my paper that she had to sign. But she did, and she supported me. And I enjoyed my time in the Marine Corps. Okay? 1999, so it was before 9/11. As soon as 9/11 happened, we knew things were getting serious, right? 2003, I went over to Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom, 2003, cross-line of departure, March 19th, 2003. Part of the initial shock and awe invasion that went up. Can't catch my breath from the roar. As I was up there, I went through everything that a warrior goes through in war, okay? I was there during the initial time. We went straight up to Baghdad. It took us 3.5 weeks to fight our way from Kuwait all the way into Baghdad and take control of the capital city. When I came home at the end of that year, I immediately started battling symptoms of PTSD. What I was told later was PTSD. Nightmares, anger, sadness, depression. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't sleep, and when I did sleep, I had nightmares. And I finally got to the point where I wanted to sleep so bad, but I was afraid of what was going to happen. I was afraid of the nightmare. I was afraid of waking up screaming. I was afraid of waking up in cold sweats and swinging and hitting random things. So then I didn't want to go to sleep. And then I would get exhausted, and I'd fall asleep for like 18 hours. And that was my life at first. And that ended up turning into alcoholism, violent outbursts, rage. I'm sure some of you have heard of adrenaline addiction, putting myself in situations that were just crazy. How's it going, man? Welcome. Are you a veteran?
Yes.
Should we make a roar?
I think we should.
Did you hear the roaring?
What's that?
Did you hear the roaring that we did?
No, what happened?
I think you'd have the best roar, so. You might do it later. Cool. So anyway, so the Hulk right there in the middle, that represents my few years after discharge. And by a few years, I got out in 2006, but it really started hitting me in 2003 when I came home, and this lasted all the way until 2000, about 12, 13, when I finally decided to start turning my life around. By 2000 and in 2004, I was divorced. I got married very young. I was divorced my first wife. 2 months later, I got married to my second wife. Another great decision in life. And we had 2 beautiful children, though, so that's awesome. But later got divorced also, and now I'm married to my third wife, which is going to be my final, I promise. And I'm going to get into her here a little bit, too, because she saved my life. 2006, first time I got arrested. Put holes in the walls, put my hands on people I shouldn't put my hands on. Lost control of myself. So 2006, first time I got arrested. 2007, first time I found myself sitting in a dark closet with a gun in my head. And as I pulled back on the trigger, my 1-year-old son in the room next door to me let out one of the loudest shrieking screams I'd ever heard from him. And I've yet to hear from him since. And I heard it and it stopped me. And I realized in that moment, I am not the father he needs right now. I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. Things are not going well in my life right now. But if I pull this trigger, I kill all potential of ever becoming what he needs in his life, who I can be in my life. And so I put the gun down, I fell asleep, I got up and I went to work. So that was in 2007. 2008, I got arrested again. 2009 was the first time I punched a police officer in the face. My anger got the best of me for many years. So I found myself in jail for a while. And when I got out, I still lived a life of alcohol and experimenting with drugs and just not caring about anything. Still trying to tell myself, I still hold in my agreement to myself that I will not pull that trigger, but I still put myself in positions to where I hoped I died. And that was my behavior. So it was not suicide attempts, but it was suicidal behavior, where hopefully this guy kills me. Hopefully this much alcohol kills me. Hopefully this kills me. And that was my behavior for a while. Once I finally calmed down, notice the weight came. I used to look good. And I calmed down in about 2012, 2013. This is what happened. 2011, I met a girl. First time I told this girl I loved her, we weren't even dating. I was in the back parking lot of a strip club at 3 in the morning that they had just closed down. I was doing lines of coke off my car. I was drunk, and I called her up at 3:30 in the morning when she had a biology exam that morning. And I was just an idiot over the phone, and she listened to me, and she heard me, and something in her told her, he's got potential. There's something there about him. I don't know what, I mean, obviously, God told her that. I don't think anybody else would have said, look at this guy, he's potentially going to be a great husband for you. So when I said I love you, she said thank you. And I said, no, did you hear me? I said I love you. And she goes, that's nice, thank you. So the next day, she was like, do you remember what you said? I was like, no. And I didn't learn about it until later because I didn't remember it. She hung around. Something about her kept me close to her. And she was the person who saved me. She got me to finally get into counseling, encouraged me, she empowered me, she spoke life into me. And that's what we need to be to these veterans that we come across and to those who are near. Be somebody who encourages, who empowers, who speaks life into somebody. Even when you see somebody who looks like, wow, there's no hope for that person, you still tell them, I believe that you will come through this. There is something better for you. You have purpose in your life. There is a mission for you. And you tell them that, and when they go, no, okay, well, that's what I believe. You can say what you want to say, this is what I believe. And that was done to me for several years by several people. Until one day it finally hit. Wow, maybe I can do something better. And in January 2013, I had my Jesus moment. So I was going to kill myself. I finally decided I was going to break my personal contract with myself, and I was done. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to exhaust all available options to me before I do this. So I said, I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to call out to God, and He's going to save me. Called out to God to make it short, so I'm not up here preaching to you. He saved me. I said, okay, what do we do next? One, He said, you marry that girl. Okay. Put her through a lot. But you can be better for her, and I'm going to help you with that. So you're going to marry her. He said, two, get out there and tell people that there's hope. And share your story. And let them know that they can come out. So I did. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to get out there and find veterans now. So this is how we do it. All right. So this is what helped me. Right. I wanted to know how can we speak in a language that they understand, that I understand, and make these things make sense. So first off, in order to overcome an enemy, you have to recognize there is an enemy. So whatever you want to call it, PTSD, moral injury, PTS, PTSI, shell shock, battle fatigue, whatever you want to label it as. That is the enemy. Anger, guilt, shame, pain, regret, survivor's guilt. That's all the enemy. So in order to, one, overcome it, you got to recognize it. It's not about ignoring it. It's not about saying it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing it and saying, I see you. I know you're my enemy, and this is how I'm going to beat you. So overcoming the enemy. In the military, this is what we do, right? We train to overcome our physical enemy that we go to war to fight. We go through a process of learning how to use our weapon. We learn strategies and tactics. We know about our gear. We know how to lead. We know how to follow. We know what we're doing because we train back home when things are peaceful. So when we get there, when we engage the enemy, it just comes to us second nature. So how do we turn that into our life now? These are the things that can help. These are your weapons, right? Some people call them hobbies. It may just be something that some people do every now and then, but these are powerful. For me, it was writing. When I started writing everything in my mind, everything I was going through and putting it down on paper, it allowed me to process what I was going through. It allowed me to see it in a different light and help me work through it. That was my weapon. And in order to use that weapon effectively, though, when the enemy's coming at me, I have to learn how to do it when I'm feeling okay. So it wasn't just writing when I was stressed. It's writing when I'm calm. It's writing when something happy happens. It's writing all the time. And that got me in the habit of writing. So when I got stressed out, when the enemy came at me, and I was feeling the pain and sadness and guilt and shame and everything, I went to writing because that's what my mind knew. Write it down, write it down, write it down. And it helped. Some people work out. Some people garden. I know veterans that knit. Big, strong men that knit because it's calm and they enjoy it. But they do it the exact same process that we did when we learned how to be effective in the military. We choose our weapons. We learn how to use it. We learn everything about it. So in combat, when we engage the enemy, we're effective. So here we teach them, choose your weapon. Now we're going to teach you how to get good with it. Do it every day. Become familiar with it. Make it muscle memory. Know what you're doing. So when the enemy hits and you're sitting there and you're depressed and you're thinking about killing yourself, you're thinking about, why am I here? You're crying or you're angry because you were crying. You go to your weapon and you utilize your weapon. And that in itself is going to start bringing things down. It's going to be effective in your fight against your enemy. So next, different things, other things that we learned. So one, when we are in combat and you start getting overwhelmed by the enemy, right? We're taking heavy fire, we're taking casualties. What do? Everybody knows, if you've seen any kind of military movie, this is even familiar to you. You call for help. You call for support. I don't know what it is that gets into our heads when we come home that says you are to do this on your own. You are a man, you are a strong woman, you are learning how to do, you're prideful, I can handle this, I don't need nobody to help. I don't know where that comes from. And I hear too often them say, well, they taught me in the Marine Corps that do it on my own. When? Never. Show me a training manual. Show me a class that you went through. Show me anything in any branch of the military that says when you run into trouble and you're overwhelmed, figure it out. You are encouraged to take initiative and to figure things out, but if it gets to a point where it's like, I don't know what to do here, you call for support, you call for help. I don't care if you're an admin doing computer work. If you can't figure something out, you're going to call somebody, hey, how do I do this? Or if you're on the ground fighting and you get overwhelmed, call for help. So as I translate over, just like that. When the enemy that we face now, is coming at us in the guilt and the shame, the depression and the injury, the PTSD, whatever you want to label it as, is coming at you. You go back to your training, and you call for support. One of the stories that I like to tell, that I hold on to, that reminds me about this, that really got this sink in for me, was on April 8th, our company crossed over into Baghdad. And we got ambushed, and we started taking heavy fire. We started taking casualties, and we were overwhelmed. So our platoon commander starts calling for support. He goes to his training, and he calls for support. He calls for mortars. They're in their own fight. They can't help us. He calls for artillery. They won't help us because the urban environment, they won't approve it to come into the city. We call for quick reaction forces. We call for nearby units. Everybody's engaged in their own battle. Nobody can come. So we call for air support. And air support effectively put us on a waiting list. Okay, so we recognize that you're in a bad position. There's a lot of people out there like that right now. You're on your waiting list. And the one command that came through from them was 3 simple words: hold your position. They recognize you're in trouble. We recognize you need help. But we're going to need you right now to hold your position until we get there. And so that sticks with me now. And I try to get that across to a lot of the vets that we talk to. Look, you get to a point where you do finally muster up that courage and swallow that pride, and you call for help and you call for support. I might not answer. Wendy might not answer. Sandy might not answer. Whoever else is calling might not answer at that time. Whatever organization you're calling might not answer. You might call the VA hotline and they're just not working right for you. So that's not working out. When you go on Facebook and post something, nobody's responding, you're not getting any help. The thing is, you put out the call, you left that information, people know you're in trouble, and at that point, you hold your position. Just like you learned when you were in the military. And when you present it to them in these ways, it's comfortable and it's familiar, because we've heard these terms, we know the training, we've all seen these things. So you explain it to them this way, and you kind of see that light bulb click from time to time where they're like, wow, I didn't realize that. I just had a veteran at my church the other day who said, you know, man, I had so much trouble asking for help. I know I should, I just have so much trouble. And he's like, you know what I mean, right? You know, we were told to handle everything on our own. He's trying to pull me into agreeing with that. And I stopped him, I said, no, I said, tell me one time that you were in a class, or you read a manual, or you were in training, and you were told, handle it on your own when you're in trouble. He goes, I can't. I said, because you weren't trained that. You were trained when you get overwhelmed, when you start taking fire, you call for help. And there's no shame in that, it's your training. And he just clicked, and he said, he smiled, he kind of got a little teary-eyed, and he was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So being able to relate our training to our life now is extremely important. Post-traumatic. What comes to mind? Somebody say something. Post-traumatic. Post-traumatic. Anything else? Yeah. Any word, other words? Post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic, when you say depression? Anything else? Injury? Anything else? About that. Post-traumatic growth. This is something that's starting to get talked about a lot more, and I love it. It's about going through something traumatic, going through a situation where you were affected, you were close to death. It was a traumatic incident for you. You recognize that. People go through that. It's not about, like I said, forgetting it and thinking it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing it. But what are you going to do with it? Are you going to let it get you down, or are you going to grow from it? I went through a process of letting it get me down for years. Right, I had a gun in my head. I did things I wasn't supposed to do. I was trying to die. That was my post-traumatic stress disorder, how you want to put it. I was able to come out of that and fall into what's called post-traumatic growth. That was it. I drank straight from the bottom, and I was proud of it. That picture up there is a picture I drew of myself. And I didn't even realize that that's what I was drawing. I was doing a self-portrait in an art class, and I thought I was doing a great job. I was like, wow, this looks just like me. After 4 hours, I get up and walk around the class and come back and look at it and was completely shocked at what I was looking at. That's how I saw myself. I didn't realize it, but that's how I saw myself. And from that, married to a beautiful woman, 2 beautiful kids. I played Buzz Lightyear in a Christmas play. I made that costume myself. I walked around Disneyland in a wizard hat. That guy would never do that at all. Put that guy in a Buzz Lightyear costume and he will beat the living heck out of you. Put a wizard hat on him? No, I don't think so. Maybe after a couple of those bottles, but that's about it. This can happen. Okay? I was in a deep, dark place where there was people in my life that thought I would never come out of it. There's people that saw me and said, he's dead. And I started believing. But then I started getting around people who, for whatever reason, looked at me and said, there's a purpose. There's a mission. You can do better. You're going to... I saw a psychiatrist in 2010, and she was doing an evaluation on me for my playing with the VA. I yelled at this woman. I put this woman down. I scolded her. I told her she doesn't know anything about me. Why is she doing this? She's not a veteran. She doesn't know anything about veterans. I spent an hour telling my story, telling her what I've gone through, what my problems were, but also being an animal to her. At the end of it, she goes, I'm going to tell you this off the record, but one day you're going to make a difference. One day you're going to tell your story. One day you're going to help people. And you're going to be in front of people talking about your story and how you can help them. And I laughed and I said, you're crazy. There's no way that's ever going to be. It can happen. Anybody you know that's in that position? All right, so the last story I want to tell you guys real quick. In Iraq on April 8th, once again, that same day, I was on top of a building and we were taking heavy fire, right? All of a sudden, things just calmed down and it was quiet. And on top of these buildings in Iraq, if you're not familiar, there's a wall about yay high and it borders the top of the building. So we're crouched down behind the wall. And from out of nowhere, this ball explodes in my face, shoots me back about 10 meters, knocks me out for about a minute and a half from what I'm told. And I get up and I'm able to get back in the fight. Pick up. What I realized later in years in that moment was that there was somebody holding an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, saw me through their sights, pulled the trigger with every intent in their heart to end my life and to kill me. And when that explosion happened, chances are they probably believed that they succeeded. I want to find that person one day. And I want to say, you tried to kill me. Not only did you try to kill me, I'm sure you thought you did. You took me out, and for years, I held on to that, and I replayed that moment in my head for years, every day, every moment of every day, because I was mad at myself for not seeing the enemy. I was mad at the enemy for doing what he was there to do. I was mad at the Marines around me because after it happened, somebody made the decision to pull back off the top of the building and go to a more secure location. I was mad at that. Don't be treated. So I was upset. So I had to go through a process of forgiveness. But this is what I've come to realize, right? Somebody tried to kill me. In his mission to kill me, he not only failed, he failed miserably. Because years later, I'm in a position to where I'm not just alive, and I'm not just existing, but I'm out there helping and bringing hope. And this idea that we can make it, it's saving lives. So he not only tried to kill me and failed, so instead of taking out one Marine, what he did created a ripple and saved lives. So I walk around with this mentality all the time. You may try to kill me, you may try to take me out, you may try to hold me down, and I start speaking to the enemy that's coming against me. You may be trying to make me weak, you may be trying to keep me in my bed today, but in the end, you will not break me. You may make me beg, and you may hurt me, you will not break me. And I want you guys to hold on to that. Whether you're dealing with your own personal issues, whether you know a veteran that you're helping, and you can impart these things to them. You can let them know, I know that you're going through some things right now. But I want you to if you can, take them to a moment where maybe they almost died, or somebody tried to kill them, or they went through something terrifying and traumatic in their life. And I want you to let them know, yes, you went through that. We're recognizing that you went through that. But you're here today, you're in front of me right now, and I need you to look that enemy in the eye and say, no matter what you do to me, you will not break me. Thank you for your time.